Well, it's October, and what goes best with October but Halloween? The time of year where friends and families alike shed their normal day-to-day looks to dress up as their favorite fictional character, classic monsters, heroes, villains, astronauts, ironic costumes, pirates, ninjas. You get the idea. Well, one of the most infamous fictional families also got the idea. Jason, Barbara, Damien, Dick, and Bruce changed up their looks a bit with their latest 5-pack release. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, aka JK of JK Collects, and in this episode we are taking a closer look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Multipack Bat Family 5-pack. Okay, hey, welcome back everyone, and here we have it, the DC Multiverse Multipack Bat Family 5-pack, like we mentioned. Thank you McFarlane Toys for that quality thing. Now this one, another Amazon exclusive. I ordered it, was able to get it, and from what I can tell in filming this currently, it is still available. Seems like it could be a great set. I've only seen pictures. Obviously I've opened the box, but I haven't actually opened or pulled anything out yet. One thing that I want to draw attention to is I like that McFarlane Toys sent this, or that it came in this box, and you know that they send stuff in their packaging when you order from them because they have that special tape. And yeah, we've got this kind of Spawn logo right here, but I'll tell you, in stores, you know, sometimes when new stock comes in, you can easily spot this McFarlane Toys tape, so you kind of know, hey, you know what, maybe something new is coming, maybe something's being put out. You know, that lucky time where you're there and you can pick up that one figure that you're looking for. So just keep an eye out for that tape. It's easy, right? That's how Hasbro boxes, they have a specific look. You know what to look for. So yeah, there we go. You know what, but without any additional rambling about that stuff, let's take it out of this, right? So the cardboard is probably the least important part. So let me pull that out. Let's see what kind of a task this is going to be here. Let's see if we can do it and keep it mostly on camera. Okay, so coming out pretty nicely. Looks like we might be okay there. We're just going to toss that box to the side. Excuse the noise in the background of that hitting the floor. So wrapped in this nice paper. Oh yeah, you know, pretty good presentation right there when you first pulled it out. Now I did have to zoom out to make sure that this thing stayed in frame because it's so big, but look at it. Now, when it first came out, I saw Nightwing upside down, so I thought maybe it was right side up, but it was not. So there we go. Across the board here, the Bat Family as they stand right now. So, all right, let's take a look at it, right? So let's do the usual. Start with the back. Okay, pretty simple. Or maybe this is supposed to be the front because this is where it has the gold label, but DC Multiverse, the Batman family. 12 years and up. So not much on the side. You know, everything with the presentation is pretty plain aside from what we just saw of the pictures of everybody. Pretty good art style. I'm a big fan of the way all of these look on the box. Let's take a look and see how they are in the box. Now, from what it looks like and from what everybody has said, these figures are nothing new, right? They're all yet another edition of repaints, and that's fine, you know, because they look like there's some pretty solid repaints of some styles that I really enjoy of these characters. So yep, let's take them out. I'm gonna set this box to the side here, and there we go. Now we're back to that typical McFarlane Toys appearance that we have, right? So that bluish background with some of the art going on back there, like we got Superman showing there and all that. Just various different drawings of different DC characters to cover the entire DC multiverse, right? So you don't have to do a different background for every single one. Or you know what? Maybe they do. I haven't paid that close of attention, but we got Superman in front of Batman or behind Batman, so I'm assuming they don't necessarily change it up too much. General presentation, of course, except we've got 5 people side by side with various weapons. We've got the cards behind them. Let me go ahead and pull these guys out because we'll spend some time looking at them, but let's check out this background just a little bit. So there we go, right? So there's our Detective Comics, Superman, various different things in there. Oh, look, the death of Superman. Nice to see right there. We've got that anniversary coming up here pretty soon, right? So we should see some pretty cool stuff coming out. There's our cards matching the art that's on the front or the back, whatever you want to call it, of the box that we were just looking at. There's our stands for each individual. Just a little bit zoomed out versions of some of these, but some of them identical to what we just saw. Okay, well, that's it. Enough about that. Let's get into the nitty gritty, right? So, yeah, no major differences in these characters. They're very similar to a lot that we've already seen, but I mean, just looking at them here as an overall, the presentation is fantastic, right? So I love these color palettes of these figures, and I'm just a sucker for that classic blue Batman look, that blue and gold of Batgirl, and I'm happy to see all of these, right? They're very, very simple, but you know what? Let's start getting into them. This is something that I will not be sad to see go away one day. Would be all of these little elastics, because they're always a little bit difficult to to spot them all the first time, and to make sure that I get them all cut and out of the way. Let's do it this way. Let's do it a little bit safer. In the back here, and see if we can maybe cut it. Tell you what, that is not the easiest of tasks. So I would be all for seeing McFarlane do a little bit of a reduction of plastic. How about that? They don't have to go entirely plastic free, but maybe a reduction of plastic and little rubber things. Okay, so let's see what we're dealing with here. Maybe we can get a little bit of leverage, make a little bit of noise. There we go. That's going to give us kind of an angle to be able to see that and carefully cut it. So we can pull old backs. Still had him by the foot, but the foot one let go. So, all right, we've got him out first. As you can see, that was quite a task there, but totally worth it. So, pretty bulky looking Batman there, right? So, and many people have pointed out the fact that with DC Multiverse, yeah, pretty big bodies, smaller heads, but you know, with the human body, your body can get a lot larger, and the head kind of stays the same size, right? You got a skull there. It's not going to grow too much. You've seen some individuals, real humans, not in action figure form, that have that look going. But you know, sometimes when you think about it, it can be a little kind of comical looking. Posability, right? So the head, this is all one solid piece, right? Head and neck. So we don't really have that separation that we see in some other lines. So functionality, not all the greatest there, but you know, it works for what it is, I guess. You've got a lot, it can look down pretty well. He can be sad and brooding, so he's definitely ready for that. I guess that's a key thing for Batman. Brood, or, you know, look up and look around, be ready for attack. But as far as a lot of neck mobility, you just don't really have a lot there. Arms, pretty good. I mean, we've got that, I believe it's called a butterfly joint going on in there, so good flexibility on it. We've got double elbow going on there. Good wrist, right? So we've got wrist rotates, and we've got it where it can move back and forth like that. So good for posability there. We've got that on both sides. Right here, right? So torso can kind of twist. Don't really have much movement in up and down on the torso. We do have a waist swivel right there, so that's good. Legs go out pretty well. It seems like they kind of do that shift down so that they can get a little bit farther out. Right, so yep, that's pretty good. We got the bat split. Very, very common move, of course, if you're not familiar with it. The bat split. It was coined many years ago. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Double knee right there, so it kind of helps with that flexibility, just like the elbow. So kind of a lot of similarity there, right? So foot rocks around just fine. Look, we even have a little bit of toe articulation. So another thing that kind of helps when you're trying to do some pretty cool bat poses. Now his head and neck may not move a lot, but the rest of the body has some pretty good mobility, right? So we got a little swivel on the biceps there. I didn't really point that one out, even though I kind of did twist it around a good bit and do a lot of contorting of said Batman. So there we go. Kind of the basics of it. It looks pretty good. Generally a good presentation. I do like the gold paint that they've got going here for the symbol. Let's see if we can get the you know what, let's clear these guys out of the way so it's not confusing the focus too much. Maybe that way it can, yeah, can lock on it a little bit better there, right? So we've got the gold with the black bat on there. Now the paint app on it could be a little better, right? So, but I mean, we're dealing with a pretty small portion of it right there. I can't really fault them for being too terrible. The gold kind of does cover over where some of the black of the bat wing should be. But the belt, you know, the gold on that looks pretty solid. Don't really see too many issues with it. If we lift the cape up, it's gold all the way through. And the belt is, you know, it kind of moves around a little bit. It seems like it's attached, but then sometimes it seems like it's not. I'm going to say it is entirely attached. So there we go. All right. Cape pretty flexible. I'm a fan of the good sculpting of a cape like this and how they are kind of flexible, but I am a sucker when there's a soft goods option, right? So I don't know what it is. There's just something, it brings a figure to another level when there's that soft goods option. So hey, maybe one of those third-party developers out there with Etsy's and all that stuff, maybe we'll see some nice blue soft good options that match this Batman. All in all, pretty good setup. Face looks pretty good. We got the whited out eyes, so you know, just kind of gives him that monstrous, that beast look, soulless almost, right? So villains of Gotham better watch out. So there we go. There's the Batman. Not too much more to talk about it. I do love that good blue and gray color scheme, though. All right. We'll set this guy to the side just so that he doesn't throw off our focus, and we'll bring everybody back together here in just a little bit. Next up, we've got Babs, good old Barbara Gordon, right? So let's get her out of there. I think the best approach kind of seemed like just getting a little bit violent and pulling it out. Let me see if I can delicately get that. Yeah, that'll help a little bit. Get that from holding her in too tightly. Let's see if we can. Bit of tension on that helps. And get a little bit of tension on this wrist. Cut that as well. And we'll pull my ankles here. I know it's a little tough to see, and this might be a little bit of a boring part, but hey, we all go through it when we are opening up a new McFarlane figure. So I know everybody kind of feels that pain because you want to cut it out, but you also want to be very careful to not cut the figure. You know, hopefully one day they'll figure out a better way than all this. Let me clear all this shrapnel off here. All right, so let's take a look at old Barbara here, right? So again, Batgirl. I am happy to see whenever McFarlane Toys does release some form of a female figure. Now, it's mostly been Batgirl and Harley Quinn that we've seen, and some Wonder Woman. Looks like our focus is getting thrown off, so I'm going to move these guys again. So, again, it's mostly been those three, right? We did have Batman of Earth, what was it, -23 or something? The Drowned, I guess you would say. That was technically a female, even if it was Batman. But we did see that. So it's good to see that. I would love to see more come. Personally, it would be great to see a Supergirl, right? Or maybe a Zatanna. Would love to see a figure like that, right? So very powerful. Or how about Poison Ivy? You know, we've got Catwoman. That's great. How about we get into the realm of some others? You know what? Enough about that. Let's get to the figure at hand, right? So here's Barbara, right? Again, nothing really majorly new about the figure. We're just dealing with some pretty cool color schemes, right? Again, always a sucker for that nice blue and gray. And they did a fantastic job with the yellows and the golds. They don't quite match, right? So we've got slightly goldish here and on the chest and here, right? Doesn't quite entirely match the yellow specific paint that's on the cape, but you know what? Maybe they weren't necessarily trying to, because all of the gold, aside from the gold paint here, does match pretty well. So they did a great job with that, just letting the cape kind of stand on its own with its yellow, right? So let's look at head flexibility. Now see, her head is actually separated from the neck. Looks like it's on a ball or something, so she's got a little bit more flexibility than old Bats did, right? So it moves individually of the neck. We've got the hair back here that looks like it's got a little bit of action going to it, which I like, right? looks pretty good. You know, if you've got her looking one way or the other, kind of looks like the wind's catching her. We've got the good old McFarlane side eye. Yeah. What's she looking at? I have no idea. I don't even think she knows. If you look at the look on her face. Shoulders and arms, right? So we still good old butterfly in there. So good flexibility with that. Double elbow on that. So very similar to the way Batman's laid out. Big surprise, right? Good old McFarlane kind of sticking with the same program as far as flexibility. Always good to see that, right? So you know what you're going to get with each figure that you're dealing with. Same thing with that torso. Shifting around. Do we have a waist? I don't think we have a waist. If we do, it's stuck pretty well, and I just can't tell underneath that belt. And I'm not really one to force things too much because it's not wanting to move. Legs, great flexibility. It looks slightly different setup. It's just the way that the figure is built. It just allows some natural flexibility. All right, so hey, thanks for those flexible, nimble hips, right? So that just works out perfectly. The legs don't have to do that drop down thing. It's just the way that they are built. You can see it's a completely different setup under there. Yep. That felt awkward. Okay, so double knee, right? Not too bad there. Good flexibility. She gets pretty far back. We've got the same action going on in the ankle, right? So we can go left, right. We got a nice little swivel and all that. And some toe articulation, right? So she's ready to go. She's ready to fight just like old Batman. Paint application, everything's looking, you know, pretty good. Face, kind of hard to tell with the light. It kind of washes some of it out, but there's almost like a little bit of rosiness applied there, and it looks like it's kind of uneven. Almost looks like makeup got messed up just a little bit or something, you know. Hey, maybe it's bruising, who knows? But hopefully not. Hopefully she's winning the fights. But there we go. Looks pretty good. You know, all in all, can't be too upset about it. Again, always a sucker. Can't mention it enough for the gray and blue applications. So it's going to be hard for me to be too picky because I'm just glad to have this setup, especially with the two of them. That way they can be side by side just like that. All right, let's see who we've got next. Well, if it isn't Jason Todd, the Red Hood. Spoiler alert, if anybody hasn't been following Batman for a while and you're just dipping back into it. Sorry about that. I guess I should have warned everybody. Of course, I guess if you didn't already know that, you'd be considerably behind the times. So I wouldn't feel too bad about it. All right, well, let's get Mr. Todd out of here and welcome him properly to the Bat family. Interesting how I mean, I hate to say it, but the male figures just have a little bit more solid structure to them. So when it comes to just pulling and getting those little rubber pieces that are holding it to the plastic to come loose, they just pop through. Barbara was a little bit more difficult. I didn't want to take a chance and mess up any of the joints or anything like that. So just a FYI, be careful with that when opening them up. You might see you just rip out Jason or ripped out old Bruce Batman back there, but Barbara, I would just be a little bit careful. That's all. Just a word to the wise. So here's old Jason, right? All set up, ready to go. Again, good setup. The head, it's much like Barbara's, right? So we've got it up there on that ball, or maybe a barbell joint is what it might be called up there. So good flexibility on it, right? We got, again, you got the Exorcist thing going on there, full turnaround, a little bit of side to side and up and down. So he's ready to look all around Gotham to find anything that's going on, right? Good setup. Same thing with the shoulders. Good flexibility there. Looks like pretty good. Yeah, matching everybody else so far. We got the double elbows. How about those wrists? The wrists are a little bit interesting, right? You can see how these gloves are, right? So it looks like the glove is one entire piece with that hand / wrist. So there may be the possibility of some mobility in there, but that glove looks like it's actually impeding some of that or preventing it, right? So it looks like it wants to be able to flex, but that glove being one piece attached to the hand kind of gets in the way. Little vest is a piece on there, right? So probably you could take it off if you didn't want it, if you wanted to just have that Red Hood, just the armor look underneath, which, I mean, let me say that armor, since we're talking about it, looks pretty darn good. It's pretty cool. I like the way that it's set up. They did a good job representing it. We've got that torso swivel. Looks like we got a waist swivel. Torso moves around pretty well for some good posing. Leg, similar setup to old Barbara, right? So it doesn't have to necessarily do that drop down that we see with some of the other ones out there, but still has some excellent flexibility. I mean, look at that. He can also do the bat split, even if he's not a Batman. I mean, he's almost there. There it is. So he's ready to go. Full-on ninja kick, right? Double knee, not too bad. Same thing with the ankles. We've got good swivel, got good rotation, and we've got that toe articulation. So looks like everybody's ready to do just about that same pose. I do like how the head is, you know, we've got the unmasked head, even though he still technically has a mask on. And if you notice, look at the hair. It's got a little bit of a wash there on the black, just to kind of have a little bit of a. You'd almost say that he's graying, but I don't know if that's supposed to be like night, you know, shining off of his hair, right? Instead of the sunlight, you've got the moonlight or the lights of the city. Who knows? I don't know if I would say Jason Todd was quite old enough to be that gray, but you know what? Who am I to talk? Yeah, gray just happens. Okay, so let's pop that head off and let's put this one on. Look at that. It's quite the long little barbell there, because that I can't say that I'm familiar with a head going that far up before you have the spot where it joins into place, but you know what? It seems to work. This is another one of those where I'm just going to assume it went into place, and it did not. So I don't really get that pop, but I don't want to force it because it's on there well enough, and we can see what he looks like with that helmet on. Pretty cool looking, right? So there we go. And it still keeps a lot of that movement, right? So the same that the unmasked head had, you still keep that same flexibility and articulation that you had even when you put that one on. So there we go. That's old Mr. Todd, aka the Red Hood. There's a Red Hood right there. How about that? All right, we'll move him out of the way, and we're going to move on to, well, look who it is. It's our little Robin, our angry little Damian Wayne, looking just as, you know, I don't even know what to say about how he looks. He looks like he should be possessed, like there should be some red eyes in there. But let's take a closer look once we get him popped out of there. Again, as before, sorry for the noise. Aha. Let's see, I took a chance with old Robin. Tried to do the pull out and have the body just bust the rubber little locking pieces. I don't know what to call them. That hold it in place. These, and in this time the rubber piece won and pulled the leg off. But fortunately, the leg goes right back on. Hey, thanks for those lovely little simple joints that just pop right back together. Okay. So there he is. There's our boy Robin. And, you know, just first glance in what I was saying with old Jason Todd's hair, there we go, right? So Robin's same thing, got that same wash. I'm assuming it's just the moon or the city lights shining off of his head right there. So, yeah, that's our guy. Looking pretty good. Let's check out that, yeah, head movement. Great, right? So we're on that ball again. We have it separate from the neck. Unlike old Bats is the only one that's got that old-fashioned style there. Cape looking pretty cool. I like the hood knocked down. The Robin costume looks good. Paint apps look pretty solid on it. You know, no real complaints. Nothing really standing out. Some little things on the face. It kind of looks like some of the spray or whatever we have on there to make the face look a little bit more real or whatever. It's kind of uneven, but that's okay. You know, I'm not going to be too mad about it. Flexibility, same thing with the arms, double elbow. We got that. I don't think we have the same joint for the shoulder. It doesn't really seem like it's got the butterfly thing going on in there, but it's okay. I mean, still pretty flexible. Goes forward and back fairly well. And you know what? I may have just made a liar of myself. Single elbow. So we've got a little bit less articulation with this guy. We do have that bicep one where it twists there. The wrist does, you know, rotate, and it does have that little angle right there. Same thing on, you know, both sides. Legs would be fairly flexible. These are on those ball joints. We're back to that, not that same setup that we saw with hard to get some light down there. It's such an awkward shot. But we were just working with balls, not that same thing that we saw on Barbara and Jason. So we've definitely lost some flexibility between the costume and just the setup of those legs, as you can see. So the costume definitely gets in the way of trying to do the back split. So I guess Damien got the short end right there. As far as swivel, we do not have a thigh swivel. We have it looks like a single knee. We've got that knee pad right there, kind of helping to cover the knee joint, which I like when they do that, right? Kind of helps keep that idea of realism there. I like the laces on the boots. The tie kind of hanging loose. It adds a little bit of a depth, or we'll say realism again to it, right? So it kind of looks like they're tied after being laced up. The ankle does have that same swivel and rotation capability, and we do still have the toe articulation, but we did lose a few things, right? Some of the arm capabilities, some of the leg capabilities, that costume definitely got in the way, unlike the others. So that's it with old Robin, but still, I mean, pretty cool looking figure. Again, looking very possessed. I think having those whited out eyes definitely adds to it, and grumpy little face. But you know what? If we're dealing with Damian Wayne, it's got to be a kind of a grouchy, grumpy little face, right? All right, well, enough about that guy. Let's move on. Last but not least, the one and only Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson. Okay, so we'll take that waist one off, and one last time, we'll say sorry about the noise, everybody. We've lost some of the integrity of the plastic and trying to get him out because everybody else is out. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to push it too much. We've got that tight, so we'll pop that one. We've got that one tight, so we'll get that one. And maybe we can get that one. Not quite. Okay. Getting pretty close. Almost got it. One more. There we go. 0 lessons learned. I still pulled until some of those rubber pieces gave way. But you know what? It worked. I got lucky on that one. This one, kind of interesting. I don't know what it is. It's from first impressions, it looks kind of plain, right? I don't know if it's because right here we don't really have a belt, but I mean, I get it. Yeah, Nightwing, he's kind of that unibody suit thing going on, and that's maybe the best way to do that representation. So who am I to complain, right? So same head functionality that we're seeing. We got some movement in the neck this time. You know, maybe the other ones were doing it and I just wasn't noticing, but we definitely have good movement there. We've got exorcist capabilities, so that's good. It's good to see that. The only one that had that neck limitation was old Bats. Mr. I should be the most flexible himself, is the least flexible when it comes to the head. We do have the joint back in the shoulder. We have the double elbows back. We do have the bicep rotation or swivel on that, so that's good. We've got that wrist capability, spins and bends with both arms. The legs are back to that same thing that we saw with Barbara and Jason, but it doesn't quite give away as much as it used to, or on the other ones, right? So something with this waist or crotch piece is kind of getting in the way and impeding that. Double knee, so same thing there, all the way down. No thigh swivel or calf swivel or anything like that, but the ankle, same functionality there. And yep, we do have that toe articulation. Paint apps, the hair, yet again, we have that little bit of wash to show the lights of the night or the moon showing on there. And we've got this right here on the back for some of the accessories that came with him, right? His little sticks, his night sticks. I should know what the specific name is for it, but I don't. If you do, I always love being corrected and educated, so please throw it in the comments. I would love to hear it, and I'd love to read it. Paint apps are looking pretty good, though, right? So, I mean, even on these knuckle pieces, they got those pretty well. I don't really see too many issues. That right there looked like it was black, but it's just a shadow casting through. The face is definitely in a bit of a grimace, so he's an angry Dick Grayson right there with the whited out eyes. So, you know, it adds a little something to it. I like when you can see the eyes, but with these guys, the eyes kind of have to be blacked out. This one, I love it because of the good old-fashioned Nightwing costume look. I will say it does look a little bit plain, so a little bit disappointed on that. I don't know what they could have done. I'm no figure designer. You know, I didn't mention it, but we do have that torso and waist swivel. I was too caught up on how plain he looked. But I just feel like there's something else that could have been done. Hey, maybe the good old-fashioned mullet could have been brought back to bring a little bit of flavor to it. But that's it for all of our figures. So let's take a look at the rest of it and let's bring everybody together. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I made you sit through all the sound of pulling the figures out, but I don't want to make you have to sit through the sound of me pulling tape and pulling all these gadgets and gizmos, right? So in the order that they were packaged from left to right in there, we have this this grapple gun that's kind of mid-action, right? It looks like it's been fired, so we got the coil coming loose as the grapple fires out there. This one was packaged above Batman, so hey, you know what? Assumedly, it's going to be a Batman thing, right? But then we have an identical grapple gun, right? But this one has a bat symbol on it. This one essentially packaged over Barbara or Batgirl, right? So both the same. I would assume they're probably interchangeable, right? You can use it with any of these people. It's a Bat family and families share, right? So there were those two. Next was this little Batarang, right? Not too bad. You always got to have at least one in there, right? So somebody in the family's got to be holding a Batarang. Next, we had a crowbar, and this was positioned right above old Jason or the Red Hood. Now, is it the crowbar? I don't know. Looks pretty clean to be the crowbar. Too soon? Maybe? I don't know. But you know what? Still pretty cool to have. Nice little accessory. You can put it with old Jason or whoever you want. And then, kind of depending on how you want to read it, there was this sword. So, nice, massive sword. Well, we could put that in the hands of old Damien, right? I don't think he would cause too much trouble with that. A sword that is almost as big as he is. Okay, let's bring him in here just to show it real quick. Look at this thing. This is a tall sword, right? Maybe that's why he's mad, because the sword is so big. But it does go really well with his costume. So, there we go. Sword. Underneath the sword were these two amazing little stars, or pizza cutters, you know, whatever you want to look at them as. This will shred any pizza that you could possibly think of. Yeah, so there we go. We got those two in there for whoever wants to use them. And then the aforementioned nightsticks, which looks like they have a little bit of a bend to them. Obviously, always easy to fix with a little bit of heat to the plastic. It likes to return back to its intended state, right? Should something have gone wrong. But again, if you know a different name for them, these nightsticks, these batons, for old Nightwing, I would love to know what they are officially called, because I love to learn, and I don't even begin to assume that I know everything, or much of anything, actually. So there we go. Those are all the weapons that came with it, and that is it. That's everything that came in this package. So let me just move these out of the way, and let's bring everybody back in. Let's see if we can get them to stand very quickly, right? So there's old Bats, right? Let's see how Barbara's gonna do. How will she stand? Hopefully pretty well. I usually don't have too much difficulty with the McFarlane figures in standing. Now, do they stay standing? Not always. They eventually kind of decide that they want to fall over. Let's bring old Jason in here. There's something interesting about the position, the shape of his body as well. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's interesting. There's something almost lurchy, Frankenstein-y about it. Maybe something about his posture. I'm sure if I worked on it and posed it a little bit more, that would change. We'll see what we can come up with. Gosh, I just want him to stand up right now. Let's see if we can get that knee to function with us a little bit there. Yeah, it took a little bit to break that knee free, but you know, as with any of these, that first time we start to work with the articulation, it can be a little bit challenging. Yeah, that hood just does not want to work with me. So let's. That was a nice pop. So seems like he's intended to be hoodless, we'll say, not maskless, because he does have the guy. He doesn't want to stand up. How long am I gonna try and make him stand? You know, we'll set him there. If he doesn't want to play nicely, he can just lay down. You know, not really a surprise for old Jason to do things his own way, right? Especially since he's become the Red Hood. And let's see if Damian wants to cooperate. There he goes. Appreciate the support there, Damian. And let's see about old Dick. Is he gonna stay standing for us? So there we go. All right, so most of the family wants to stand. I'll show some pictures of old Jason standing up here in just a little bit, but there we go. I mean, all in all, I think it's great. I'm going to leave it up to you whether you want to buy the set or not. Personally, I do not regret it, right? Because some of these I didn't have even an original version of, and it's nice to have this one. And if I did have the original that this was clearly just a repaint of or what have you, that's totally fine, because I just love the color palette and I appreciate them coming in that whole set, you know, and that's the beauty of repaints is, yeah, it does save the company a lot of money, and where that money is saved, hopefully that money can be repurposed into being able to establish and build and cast new characters for us, right? So the more we support that, the better. That being said, you know, we can only get by with so many repaints, right? Okay, so that's it. Let's go to a little bit of other stuff. We'll see if we can get some other poses for you, but that is the McFarlane Toys Amazon exclusive Bat Family 5-pack. Yeah, wearing their different get-ups for, we'll say, Halloween. All right, so as we've got a nice 360 view of these figures posed individually, just a couple afterthoughts that kind of came out, you know, after the fact of opening the figure and the excitement of digging through it that first time. So some things that stood out, these are all repaints, right? So not a lot of new things or new shells being used. So I was a little disappointed on the paint apps, right? So in something like that, where we don't have to create a new figure, a new blank, a new body, you think we'd be able to nail just different paint apps, right? So you can put a lot more focus on that. So we kind of hope that those came out perfectly. I was a little disappointed in how they did on the Batman for sure. A couple other opportunities out there like Barbara's face, kind of overlapping on the mask. Speaking of Batman, his neck mobility or articulation, really disappointed with the head connected with the neck like that, especially with everyone else having the separate heads. So just some opportunities there. The biggest thing that stood out though, I would say Nightwing overall. I can't really put my finger on it, but something was just a little bit strange. The grimaced face kind of gave him a little bit of a Frankenstein-y look and feel. Damian's face also being in that grimace with the oddly wind-blowing hair. Just kind of some strange things that stood out. That's all. Just, like I said, just some afterthoughts. Doesn't really detract from the whole thing. Just wanted to add those on there. But that's it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed taking this closer look as much as I have. I do plan to release a new video each week, if not more, when we take a closer look at another new ad. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, please subscribe so we can continue on this journey together. It would mean, honestly, so much to me. Also, if you find yourself in the neighborhood of the like button, give it a friendly tap and leave a comment to let me know what you think. And no matter what, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to stop in. Until next time, we are all in this world of collecting together. Let's look out for each other. Thank you.